What's up, friends? Hey, it's Leo here. So my live video before had the privilege of inviting Tim Sherlock on, and we had a conversation about the school board meeting and where we stand with our school board after weeks and weeks and weeks of people protesting for protection of the students, and after literal years and months of the students or of the teachers not being respected by having a fair contract. So we discussed that earlier, but what I want to do now is put a break on that conversation and have a conversation about the first person who spoke last night. Now, for those of you who weren't there in person, over the past 3 school board meetings, we've had two people show up to speak up in support of Islamophobic, homophobic, anti-democrat, anti-social services, and anti-mental health messages that have been publicly broadcasted by a member of the school administration. We've had two people who spoke up in support of the administrator perpetrating these views and in defense of what they would say is religious freedom. However, as previously stated, this is not a conversation about religious freedom. This is a conversation about protecting our students and respecting our teachers. Let's not get it twisted. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but what I'd like to talk about personally, and this is from more of a personal aspect, is the first speaker who spoke at the board meeting last week. Now, or not last week, last night. Wow, it's been a long week in the past 24 hours. But I want to talk about the first person who spoke at the board meeting, because it's yet another smoke and mirrors show to try to justify and perpetuate discrimination and hate speech against people who are minorities. So I tried to go online onto the school district's YouTube page to find this video with clearer audio. However, from what I could hear, there was no audio in the video during the speech of this particular person. I'm guessing it was a technical difficulty. I'm not assuming that there was any agenda or anything, but from what I could hear, it sounded like complete silence. So what I am going to do is I took the video that I recorded and I tried to enhance the audio so that we could hear it. So I'm going to do a play-by-play reaction to this video for you guys as with a very specific set of qualifications, okay? So for those of you who don't know me, cool that you're checking out my live video, but my name is Leowt. I am a small business owner. I am a parent of Olean City School District students ×5. And moreover, I am a proud parent of a non-traditional family. What I mean by that is my family is queer, and just about every aspect that you can be queer. And I'm proud of that. And my children are proud of that. And we belong. And so that's why I'm speaking up. But additionally, I am in fact a trained Christian minister. I have had over half a decade of training to be in pastoral ministry. I am currently in graduate school studying theology with an eye on a PhD in theology. So I'm coming to you as someone who is Christian, who is queer, and who is a proud parent of a non-traditional family. And so what I wanted to speak to was the words of this specific speaker. So what I'm going to do is, it's an incredibly low-tech version, but Facebook is messing with my ability to display videos. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to do a live react. So I took this video that I recorded and I enhanced the video for sound quality as much as possible. So I will do my best I wasn't able to caption this, but I did turn on captions for this video. So hopefully that will help those of you who are having a little bit harder time hearing. So doing my best to be accessible, friends. But this is the video from last night. This is the video that I shot at the school board meeting. The sound in the auditorium was very hard to hear, but I think it's really important that we discuss this video, all right? I would appreciate it, friends, if you could comment on this video because it helps boost the algorithm. Also, feel free to share it because this is a conversation we need to have. Essentially what's happening is this woman is coming to the school board based off a video that went viral from a Texas school board meeting, and it came up on the quote unquote right side of TikTok, if you see what they're doing there. It is fodder for conservative TikTok, basically. And it's asinine on so many levels, but we'll discuss that. Chris, this is, I'm trying to make this more accessible. So what I'm gonna do is get up really close to my camera. I apologize for the low-tech way in which this is working, but Facebook decreases my algorithm when I go live through an outside source. So, oh Tim, so many things to say. We're gonna talk about them all. So please let me know if you can hear this. This is my best attempt to enhance the audio via iMovie. I also have my computer turned up as loud as possible. So here we go.
My name is Wendy. My husband and I are residents at Olean, and I'm here today to talk about the culture the school seems to be cultivating.
All right, can you guys hear that? Just let me know if you can hear it minimally. If not, I will provide the audio myself. So just drop a comment real quick before I go on so I can know if I need to repeat everything she says or if we can just discuss it. So I will wait for your comments and be cute in the meantime. So yeah, just let me know in the comments there if you can hear anything, let me know. Kind of. Okay. Misty, I think kind of might be the best thing that we can do. So, you can hear it but can't understand it. All right. Thank you for letting me know, folks. So this is ironically the best audio that I could get from here. So this is our friend Wendy, and she is coming up I'm a cute queer. She's coming up to express a disturbing trend and a culture that the school is setting. That's how far we got. So I'm gonna make sure my volume is boosted once again. It's as loud as it'll go. So I'm gonna get really close to the screen and we're gonna talk about the culture that the school is creating.
Recently, I distributed the selection of books maintained in the high school library. I don't know how many of you have been following the news, but there seems to be a national trend of schools acquiring books that have themes that are used are morally questionable and indefensible.
She has been... Will all the comments be in the minutes? I don't believe they put all the comments in there. So she's bringing up the contents of books from the school library that range from morally, she ranged from something to indefensible. So these are comments based on books that are in the school library. The only reason she knows that these books are in the school library is because of conservative TikTok. Here we go, let's try again.
Here with me today, and I would like to read a few short sections to you. I would encourage all the parents to search through the library's catalog because there are dozens and dozens of books with similar themes. This one's called Lawn Boy by Jonathan and Vision, and any children in this room might want to read for this part. Page 9 to the middle of the
She advised any children in the room to leave the room because she's going to read a passage from the book Lawn Boy. This is supposed to be the morally indefensible book content. So here we go.
There's one thing I'd never tell them in a million years, not that it really mattered. In fourth grade at church youth group meeting, out in the bushes behind the parsonage, I touched Doug Gold's stick and he touched mine. In fact, even mouths were involved. So I'll do the math for you. The characters are 9 years old. 19 pages in, and we see two children performing stack taps on each other.
Essentially, what happened in this book is a description of someone at church camp touching another person's private parts, I guess. I don't want Facebook to take me down, but participants touching each other in a sexual manner. The people in the book are both 9 years old. But the thing is that she's claiming that it's pedophilia, but there's not an adult involved. And this is a coming of age story, right? This is a thing that happens. So, but she's going to go forward with it for a little bit longer.
Chapter 16 is entitled I'm Not a Virgin and goes into detail on how we need to hear the privileges of virginity from the car at the age of 16. Some quotes from page 230. Why won't men accept each other's dicks? And then you show me your dick, and the next thing I know is in my mouth. I can't believe you both will do it. You're insane. You accept each other's dicks and you're pretending acting like it didn't happen. This is bullshit, I hollered. You suck my dick, you crazy fuck. The book throughout references male and female genitalia, homosexual and heterosexual acts. It masquerades as a coming of age book about finding yourself when in reality the entire story hinges upon a pedophilic theme.
Okay, so eventually, basically, there's a description of sex acts performed, and the biggest beef that this speaker has is that there is a gay sex act, right? She says it's a pedophilic theme. However, to my knowledge, both of the characters in this book are of the same age. All right. I've heard Lawn Boy is a good book. Perhaps that's why it's included. But for a long time, conservative folks have been afraid of books. Yikes. Right? Books. Scary. Learning. Scary. Different people. Scary. I'd also like to point out that the definition of pedophilic acts is an adult taking advantage of a child. Right? The conversation that this book is offering is not, from what I heard, from what she read, not pedophilic. Exactly. Speech in a novel versus the speech of a school district employee do not have weight in terms of free speech. Kirk, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Also, she is wanting censorship and then in the same breath wants freedom of speech. Oh, we're gonna keep going, my friends. You're correct, Kirk. They are not even close. All right, getting the mic as close as I can to the camera.
Expose children's minds to those sorts of ideas during their most formative years. Is this the culture we want for our children at the school? Is this a culture that promotes literature with pedophilic themes? A culture where he plays a principal and administrative lead for stating mainstream Christian beliefs in his own church?
So, she said she jumped from talking about pedophilic themes in the book to a culture where we would place a principal on administrative leave for preaching in a religious environment, for preaching his religion. So apparently it is a dangerous culture to hold people accountable for their public speech, even when they're in charge of our children. Weird. Let's keep going.
The administration and the board do not stand up for his First Amendment rights, but call into question his ability to do his job by placing him on leave. The school has a history of not defending the First Amendment rights of their children of Christian employees.
The school has a history of not defending the rights of children of Christian employees. Interesting, because last I checked, we're talking about a Christian person publicly saying that LGBTQ people, Muslims, Democrats, people with mental health diagnoses, people who receive free lunches, all of those people are apparently subject to the blunt end of a Christian pastor because the school doesn't protect Christians. Here's a great time to point out that it's not the school's job to protect Christians, it's the school's job to protect all students. Gonna keep going?
Your lack of defense of them lets us know where you stand. Your actions are intended to send a message to silence other employees who would dare say something that may offend a radical group seeking to destroy the livelihoods of anyone who dares disagree with them.
She said that the school would not dare speak up against a radical group who is trying to destroy the livelihood of anyone who would speak up against them. Based on her definition, I can only assume that the radical group that she is mentioning is literally the whole Olean community, two speakers who were in support of this idea, and she's one of them, so one other person other than her, versus about 15 other speakers from teachers, from parents, from students who are wanting to stand up for the dignity of all. And apparently, the school board is supposed to be worried about protecting the rights, the First Amendment rights of Christian preachers. Keep going.
Last thing I would like to say is the men of this community need to start acting like men.
Okay, the last thing she would like to say is that the men on that committee need to start acting like men. We're going to keep going, and we'll talk about this in a minute. But the men on the committee need to start acting like men.
You must do what you are called to do, what you were created to do. Protect their...
And you're supposed to all do what you are created to do.
Stand up for freedom of speech, fight for traditional families, and defend one another.
You're supposed to protect women, fight for traditional families, and stand up for freedom of speech. But that's only on the men to do. If you're a woman, get out of that seat because you don't have a responsibility other than making babies and making dinner.
Outline clear, do not let people go any further.
She would request that the school board not let people go any further with this radical notion that we should protect our students, all of our students, and that we should respect our teachers. It is a radical extremist group that is trying to come in and take over the schools. Wow, okay. First of all, antiquated gender roles. Like I said, if you're a woman, you don't have a responsibility. You might as well just abdicate your chair and just give it up to a man. So, interesting. But also, apparently, we're supposed to have freedom of religion, right? But not for Muslims, not for Jewish folks, not for mystics or witches. Forget that, because we're actively preaching that witches are evil. Right? We're not supposed to have equity for everybody, but we are supposed to allow the freedom of speech for someone in a public position of authority and someone who's supposed to be caring for our children. And that person should be allowed to say whatever he wants, even if it hurts the students and the culture of the school in general. It is not the school board's responsibility to protect traditional families. As a proud parent of a non-traditional family, you need to stop with that rhetoric because that's me and my children you're talking about. That's my friends and their children that you're talking about. And there is not supposed to be religion in schools except as an academic study of all religions. There is no moral mandate upon the men of the Olean City School Board to protect traditional families and to stop radicals from coming in and trying to ruin the livelihood of an innocent Christian pastor. Get out of here. Get out of here. This is insanity, right? This is not a conversation about freedom of religion. This is not a conversation about religious persecution. This is a conversation about our school district creating a culture of incompetence, creating a culture of complicity in racism, sexism, homophobia, Islamophobia, and speaking against people who have a mental health diagnosis. That is the issue. This is not about your religion. That conversation, that speech that this woman came up with was almost word for word from a conservative TikTok video of a woman in Texas who wanted to make a stir. A woman who was later kicked out of that same school board meeting for being disruptive. By the way, this speaker and the men that came with her, the men, because she needed men to speak for it, she needed men's approval. The men that came with this woman and this woman refused to wear their masks. So much so that the president of the school board had to pause the meeting and read a statement about the mask mandate on school property. And so instead of pulling their masks up, this woman and I think it was 3 men that were with her exited the room at that time. You can see it all on the video that I recorded last night at the school board meeting. You can see their masks were down and they left as soon as the mask mandate was read. So apparently we want to protect our children from, stories that validate their lives. We want to protect our teenagers from conversations around sex that they're already having. But we don't want to protect our children from diseases because masks are bad. Like, get out of here. This is cognitive dissonance at its finest. And it's honestly a bastardization of Christianity at its absolute worst. The dangerous extremists in this conversation are not the people wearing their masks and advocating for the protection of students and their respective teachers. That's not dangerous extremism. Dangerous extremism is when people come into a public space grandstanding about extremist evangelical beliefs. We can't even say Christian, because this same group of Christians wouldn't even consider Catholics part of the church. Nay, Catholics are not Christians. This sect of Christianity is the true Christianity. So who's the dangerous extremists in this conversation? Because I have children personally that were physically bullied because they were not white, because they were queer, because they were pagan, to the point where my children ultimately ended up having to leave Olean City School District for a while. So who's the dangerous extremist? Because 2 school board meetings ago, we had a cis, straight, white Christian pastor standing outside the school, yelling transphobic statements at myself, which I didn't even know till afterwards, encouraging, and their behavior was encouraging another student to actively bully another student. Their behavior was sanctioned by and influence another person to physically or to verbally attack me for my disgusting lifestyle on Facebook and to threaten violence. Who is the dangerous extremist in this situation? Furthermore, hi, super gay, also a Christian, also a pastor, and I can fully speak to the fact that Christianity and religion is not what's being purported from those microphones, friends. Because Christianity and religion in general, as I study interfaith relationships, so Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are my wheelhouse. Hi, none of those religions purport or support the perpetuation of racism, transphobia, homophobia, sexism, Islamophobia, and ableism. When I say ableism, I mean people who are either able-bodied or who are neurotypical. None of the Abrahamic religions back up what this woman had to say last night. It is toxic theology at its finest that brings this conversation to the public eye. Moreover, these words were not hers. They're literally a repetition of a right side of TikTok video. A video that was actually muted by TikTok, right? Muted by TikTok. No real religion preaches hate, period. I will debate anybody on that. Absolutely. And I will bring in my rabbi friends and my imam friends and my shaman friends, and we will have a real honest-to-God conversation about what is religious extremism. Because that conversation that happened last night, that was religious extremism. That is an extremist group coming into a public setting, trying to push this religion on a public school system. Guess what? America is not a theocracy. It's not going to be a theocracy. It's not intended to be a theocracy. We need to stop conflating conservative evangelicalism, because it's not even all of Christianity. It's just right-wing, extremist, conservative evangelicalism. We need to stop conflating that with religion. And we need to get it the hell out of schools. Unless you are coming as a religious person to stand up and say hate is wrong and love is right. And it's time for the school board to work towards that end. You know who stands up for our students? The community and the teachers. You know who the school board is silencing right now? The community and the teachers. It is absolutely absurd that we are having this conversation in 2021. This alt-right, ultra-conservative, hyper-conservative, because conservative is not actually a bad word. You can be conservative and actually believe in human rights. I actually have a ton of great friends that are Republicans. Go figure. But the thing that we major on is the dignity and value of human life, no matter what that human life looks like. And in our school system, there are all sorts of human life. And in the guiding principles of the Olean City School District, it says that the school exists to create an environment of respect, a welcoming environment full of respect and dignity. In what way is respect and dignity for all people being reinforced by homophobic, sexist, racist, Islamophobic, ableist ideas coming into the school? At what point do we stand up for the marginalized instead of continuing to bolster the power of a straight, white, evangelical Christian man who is publicly speaking hate speech from a position of power in a public school system? At what point do we say, protect our students and respect our teachers? At what point does that happen? Because I haven't seen it happen yet. And I said this last night in the school board meeting, and I'll say it again. I have received at least a dozen private phone calls from school board administration. And at first I was grateful for those phone calls because I thought we were dialoguing. But what we're doing is placating. And I will take no more private calls on this matter. Because if you're going to take an action and if you're going to say something, you need to do it in the public eye. Because this is a public school. Period. And the conversation about this book is a mischaracterization as pedophile, right? We can just, after the 2020 election, people feel like they could just throw the word pedophile out there and grab people's attention. Hi, that is not this, right? So you want censorship of a book because it includes a coming of age story for someone who is not heterosexual. But you don't want censorship when it comes to a fringe religious idea being used to try to urge our school board for the men to be men and to stand up for traditional families. What? These ideas are cognitively dissonant. My friend Kirk said, I wonder when those who have been bamboozled by the evangelical movement in the United States will realize that they have been just herded into a voting bloc for the far right. And the real history of this is that with the Reagan administration, Republicans realized that they could harness the religious vote by creating a common enemy. And the common enemy is people who are different. And so from the 1970s, people have stoked extremist, conservative, alt-right views. And it is literally nothing more than politicians cosplaying as pastors. That is not pastoral. You don't stand up on a stage and preach anti-Democrat. That is nowhere in the Bible. The idea of a Democrat is anachronistic to a Bible because it didn't exist. Period. So when you have a pastor stand up and you have a pastor preach that it's wrong to be a Democrat, Democrats are outside of the government of God, you are not a pastor, you are a politician cosplaying as a pastor. You are a politician hiding behind a 501c3 status so you don't have to pay taxes on your income. You're not a pastor. Pastors go out into the world and pastors advocate for the least of these. And pastors take seriously the claim of disenfranchisement, of marginalization. Because if you are a real pastor, you spend your time in the margins. And let me tell you, it is an absolute spin message. It is an absolute manipulation to try to consider white, heterosexual, Republican Christians as a marginalized group. It is an absolute joke, and it is an affront to people who have had to deal with real persecutions. Christians, by the numbers, are the largest persecuted religion in the world. But you want to know why that is? Because they're the largest religion in the world. Persecution of American Christians, of the American church, is a myth. And it is a political agenda used to garner a voting bloc to put someone in office who will support that myth. Period. American Christians are not persecuted. You know who's persecuted? Muslims. You know who's persecuted? People who are disabled in one way or another. You know who's persecuted? People with mental illness. You know who's persecuted? Muslims. You know who's persecuted? LGBTQ people. You want to know how I know? Because I know personal instances of all of those things happening within the last 6 weeks in Olean. Some of them happening in the school system. It is not the school board's job to stand up for the rights of straight, white American Christians that are heterosexual and cisgendered. No, it is the school district's job to foster a safe and welcoming environment that provides dignity to all students so that they can access education and be encouraged in a path of lifelong learning. Period. Politicians that are cosplaying as pastors need to be forced out of the conversation. And we need to listen to the voices of those who are brutalized by everyday commentary that tells them they shouldn't exist. That is the growing edge. That is the learning edge. And I would like to think that we could make that happen in Olean, because Olean is a beautiful, dynamic, vibrant, intersectional town full of fantastic people. And it's time that our school system and our city hall look like that. Period. I have to go back to work, my friends. I'm on a little bit of a soapbox right now, but I thank you for listening. I will put this video that I have recorded, I'll put it in the comments, and I am trying to find a way to caption it so that people can hear Wendy's words on their own without my interpretation, so you know I'm not just making things up. But I will post this in the comments, and I will make it available for people to see. I did look on the school district website, and or on the YouTube, and the audio was not there. So if someone has it and has a clearer version, feel free to send it to me. I would love to post it and let her words speak for themselves. Thank you guys for watching. Please, definitely, if you'd like to make a stand of solidarity, please visit the Olean Regional Justice Coalition page and like and follow that page, because we're going to be posting upcoming commentary and live videos on the topic. Furthermore, if you would like to take a stand and declare your solidarity to protect our students and respect our teachers, please go to the Olean Regional Justice Coalition page and make our profile picture your profile picture. You can see it as mine, and it simply says, protect our students and respect our teachers. Thank you guys so much. Check out the next live video on the topic that I'm going to be involved in will be tomorrow night at 8:30. I'm going to be inviting some other community activists and parents and citizens at large to come on, and we're going to have some more conversation around the school board meeting, the systemic issues that are in the school board, because make no mistake, this is not about a person, this is about a system. And we're going to be having some more honest and open conversation about that tomorrow night with some intersectional and diverse community members. We'll see everybody tomorrow night, 8:30 on the official Olean Regional Justice Coalition page. I'll definitely share it from my page, but it'll be quicker to find it from there. Please feel free to change your profile picture to the Protect Our Students and Respect Our Teachers logo, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.